it's Dean Winchester, so I'm just gonna take a minute to talk about to get up and close and personal with what's happening in the waistband situation.
All right.
This gun has a very long, skinny barrel, more than like your typical like modern day pistol. That's got to be creating some sort of wedgie situation. Like, there's nowhere else for that gun to go. My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our Supernatural opinions. Today we're recapping Season 1, Episode 22, Devil's Trap, which originally aired on May 4th, 2006. And before we even start, I'm gonna crack open my drink. I've been waiting like 10 minutes. It's the last episode of the season. Let's get this drink opened. Here to help me do that are my guests of the week. We have the ever-faithful Meredith, who must have done something awful in a past life to get stuck doing this week after week with me.
I'm sure I'll punish you later.
We missed you so much last week, Meredith.
I bet it fell apart without me.
And we also have Frances, who we last saw during our Bridgewater discussion episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back.
And back for the first time since we covered the pilot is Moira.
Hi.
I don't know if you guys want to give pronouns or if you're satisfied with that intro. I feel like I really went above and beyond this week.
I leave for one episode and I already forget what to do. I'm Meredith. My pronouns are she and her, and I am almost done school.
Yay!
Yay!
Frances, do you want to give yours?
I'm Frances. I go by she and her, and I'm super excited to be on this finale episode.
And Moira?
I'm Moira. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm very excited to be back.
And you know what? Since we did a whole intro thing and then did pronouns, I'm going to do my pronouns again. Because I pre-record mine and I never actually say them. But mine are she and they. And this week's episode will contain spoilers for this episode and may reference previous episodes, but probably won't contain spoilers for later episodes of Supernatural. This week's episode is again titled Devil's Trap, and that's a reference to the number of demons we're going to have to deal with and contain in this episode, and the specific Devil's Trap that we're going to use, which is not the Devil's Trap we're going to use for the rest of the show, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And this week's episode was written by show creator Eric Kripke, and it was directed by Kim Manners. These two almost always team up for the finales in the early seasons up until Kim Manners passes away. It's so important that the last episode of a season wraps up all the things that need to be wrapped up and set up all the things that need to be set up for the next season, that they want to work with the director who they know can do that, and Kim Manners can.
Good job, Kim.
Yeah, he is an excellent choice for that.
Yay, Kim.
He also did an amazing job on the X-Files, so
Yeah,
I have faith in his skill.
Obviously, as the show creator, Eric Kripke usually steps in these early seasons when it's like a really story-heavy one, which this one is, so here we are. Let's get right into the recap. Beyond our recap, the show does a recap at the end of the beginning of the season finale, and usually it's accompanied by Carry On Wayward Son. This one's not, because it's season 1. We had Carry On Wayward Son last week in Salvation.
We did?
Yeah, it's a not Carry On Wayward Son finale, which is weird.
Oh.
This montage is also very short and surprisingly to the point. It lacks like a full montage of them just killing monsters that most of the season finale recaps have. Usually there's at least like a few shots of them just like beheading stuff.
Just in case we forgot, that's what they do.
Yeah, this one didn't do that. It really stuck to the story. And the episode opens basically just seconds before where we left off at the end of Salvation, with the phone ringing and the boys learning that Meg has taken John. And I think we immediately need to take a moment for gun safety, because Dean hangs up the phone and he grabs the Colt and he sticks it in the back waistband of his pants.
I hate it when they do that.
Honestly, why?
It's so annoying.
Happens in so many comics I read, just so many movies we watch. Like, come on, stop doing that.
I've lived in Canada my entire life. I'm not super familiar with concealed carry. That's not really a thing that we have here. However, I have like 3 brain cells of common sense. Don't put a bare gun in the back waistband of your pants. They make holsters for this. Also, it's Dean Winchester, so I'm just gonna take a minute to talk about to get up and close and personal with what's happening in the waistband situation.
All right.
This gun has a very long, skinny barrel, more than like your typical like modern day pistol. That's got to be creating some sort of wedgie situation. Like, there's nowhere else for that gun to go.
That sounds very uncomfortable. How are you walking, Dean?
Doesn't sound comfortable. It doesn't sound safe. That thing could go off. You'd think Dean Winchester of all people would be a little bit more concerned about accidentally shooting himself anywhere below the belt. Like,
He needs to use that.
the man's really, really interested in sleeping with as many people as possible. You think he'd want to protect the goods.
Yeah, they do make like gun belts and
Yeah,
stuff
totally.
like that. You can conceal it under your jacket.
Literally, there are better options. Dean is immediately like, Dad's in trouble. We're about to be. We need to get the hell out of here. Sam still wants to go on a suicide revenge mission.
Let me stick the gun in my pants.
The demons might have John, but Dean shouldn't worry. John has built himself a clone in Sam. Sam is so John-like in this moment.
Yeah.
Dean says they're no good to anybody dead, so they're leaving now, and it is no surprise that Dean is driving and Sam is pouting when we get them in the car.
So is like that the John trait he's exhibiting, or?
It's a lot. It is a lot. Sam goes from pouting to anxiety in like 4 seconds, and no wonder I identified so strongly with early season Sam. He immediately goes from being mad to like, Meg did not say that she wanted to trade. Dad's definitely already dead. And then he's like, gets really manipulative and like, he's like, Dad's probably already dead. Let's use that to fuel Dean's rage and desire for revenge.
Woohoo.
Yeah, fun times. Dean is like, stop that right now. Everything stops until we get Dad back. I don't care what happens with the demon. And I hate John, so I might be biased. But I would be panicking a lot more if the first 10 episodes of the show wasn't, ooh, we don't know if Dad's alive or dead. We gotta drop everything and find him.
True.
I hate John Winchester and I'm tired of fucking looking for him. He would just stay with the group.
Yes.
This wouldn't be a problem.
I want to do something else today.
I'm sick of needing to go looking for him. Sam finally gets on board with finding their dad and is like, okay, how do we even find Dad? Dean doesn't even think about it. He's like, okay, help, we need help, Uncle Bobby.
Nice.
Enter Singer Salvage Yard, home of Bobby Singer, but before we actually meet Bobby, we need to talk about geography once again, except this time I'm not mad.
What?
This is the episode where they learn how to read a map. The boys were in Salvation, Iowa, which is a fictional town. It could be anywhere in Iowa that you want it to be, so that's good. We can work with that. John went to Lincoln, Nebraska, which is the state right beside Iowa, so that's good. We're on track.
Yay.
Yes.
Bobby lives in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is the state above Nebraska. It does touch Iowa as well, so that makes sense. It's not a stupidly long drive. Thank you for learning how to look at a map. Also, for reference, going north to south, the states are South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas. So since the boys spend a lot of time in Kansas, that's the layout we're working with.
This is why all my characters just stay in the same town, so I don't have to figure out that stuff.
I spend a lot of time making these episodes looking at maps. There's someone on TikTok, their at is, I think it's Priestley _ Priestley, but they've done a, with string and thumbtack, like a map of everywhere the boys have gone in 15 seasons.
Wow.
And each season is a different color of string. It is beautiful. Other people have done it too, but I just know Priestley like just finished theirs, and I had seen it a few times on my For You page on TikTok. Quick content warning, if you haven't seen this episode, we're about to meet a dog and something very bad happens to it almost immediately.
I know, like what the hell?
I have a few questions. How long has Bobby had this dog? I said in my notes what's his name, but we actually find out by the end of the episode. Can I pet them? It's a really big Rottweiler. It's laying on the hood of Bobby's tow truck. I used to have a Rottweiler, and she was like the biggest baby I ever met. I love big dogs, especially pit bulls and Rotties. Back to Bobby Singer himself. He was supposed to be named Bobby Manners as a tribute to both Robert Singer and Kim Manners, but there was some kind of real life Bobby Manners or something that made legal say they had to change it, so they just called him Bobby Singer after Robert Singer, the director.
Incredible.
And producer on the show. He has some regrets about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I heard him say that if he had known Bobby would be such a major character, he probably would have put his foot down.
Yeah, this was supposed to be Bobby's only episode in the entire show, and then it turned into like a couple more, and then next thing you know, Bobby was a fan favorite on the first 7 seasons.
Yep.
And really beyond. Bobby really transcended Supernatural, like, pretty much all the way to the end. They really just, like, couldn't get rid of him.
Good.
Yeah, as they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have gotten rid of him in the first place, so.
And they mention it in The French Mistake. They're like, oh, you named a character after yourself, Bobby Singer.
Robert Singer's like, everyone thinks I'm this asshole who names a character after himself. And he's like, it literally wasn't me, and I didn't like it. I I didn't want it in the first place, and everyone thinks I'm a jerk. Bobby is giving them some, like, holy water and casually drinking out of a flask that Dean then drinks out of. Sharing drinks. Gone in this age of COVID.
What a concept.
I never did that.
As Meredith and Moira and I are heading into another lockdown.
It's great.
Yeah.
Online school.
Sam is hunkered down in a corner reading some of Bobby's books the way that I imagine young Sammy spent every trip to Bobby's ever.
Aww.
Like, he's just immediately like, look at all these books, and he's like got them all stacked around. Dean tells Bobby he wasn't sure they should come, and this is when we hear a little bit about the infamous Bobby singer John Winchester falling out. Last time they saw Bobby, which is the last time that Dean saw Bobby, listen to my bonus episode of Driver Picks the Podcast for our theories on Sam and Bobby staying in contact. We did a bonus episode on Stanford era headcanons. Bobby and John had this fight, and Bobby threatened to shoot John to the point that he had the shotgun out and cocked it, like literally ready to pull the trigger. Bobby says John just has that effect on people, which Dean agrees. Remember Daniel Elkins literally 2 episodes ago, who had the whole time and never told John? Like, people just fucking hate John Winchester.
Yep.
Yeah, they should.
Sam is reading a book about devil's traps, specifically about the Key of Solomon, and he's just living his best life with all these books. Bobby warns him that things are really bad out there, and this is when we learn some really important information about the world that they live in that I think a lot of people forget about. Bobby tells them that typically with all the hunters that he knows, he hears about maybe 3 demonic possessions a year. And this year he's already heard of 27, which is a 900% increase on the previous years.
Yeah.
Which means, like, the world is just screwed up for the rest of the show.
Yeah. This is something I think happens with Heaven as well. Like, Heaven was, like, running along more or less, like, you know, not great, but, like, status quo for, like, literally, like, millennium. And then, like, the Winchesters show up and, like, there's a 10-year period of just absolute chaos where the Winchesters just, like, fuck shit up for them. And, like, after, like, millennia, that's a big change. And, like, same with, like, this, like, with the demons, like, 3 years for the last, like, ever, like, 20 or 30 years. And now, all of a sudden, there's 27, and then, like, by the end of the show, it's just, like, uncountable, I think.
We're just used to demons by that point.
We adapt because we don't have 30 extra years. We just hear about these 30 extra years, like, one time.
Going back to angels for a minute there, like, no wonder they're so weird. They're these ancient immortals that now have to adjust to everything.
Bobby's dog is named Rumsfeld, which I like a lot.
I love that.
And he starts barking, and Bobby goes to look, and he can't see the dog, and he's like, something is not right. And Meg busts through the door like a badass. Dean makes the mistake of starting his advance before getting the cap off the holy water. You want something leak-proof to hold your holy water so it's not, like, empty when you open it, but you want something that's gonna open in, like, 2 twists. A flask is, like, a little bit too finicky to open in a demon hunting scenario.
I think later they start going to, like, plastic water bottles, which is good.
That's what Dean had in the Phantom Traveler when I was really mad that he had brought this, like, beat-up plastic bottle on a plane. Like, he brought it through TSA. That's the kind of details you need to think about before you get into this scenario.
True.
We need to show a little love for Sam Winchester here. Bobby has probably been hunting longer than Sam's been alive. We don't have an exact timeline of when Bobby started hunting. Like, we know the events, but we don't know where that fits into the timeline. But it's probably about as long as Sam has been alive, plus a few years. Like, Dean gets, like, thrown clear across the room, and Sam was sitting behind the desk, and Bobby was standing, like, beside the desk. Sam jumps out of his seat. He throws his very large body in front of Bobby, like a human shield, and he also grabs the sleeve of Bobby's t-shirt so that while they're, like, standing there and while they're walking, he is, like, shielding Bobby, but he's also got, like, Bobby's t-shirt, like, in his fist. Like, it's a combination of, I'm protecting you and I want to know where you are, and, like, also I'm a scared little kid and you're my dad. It is somehow both, and it is so cute. Meg wants the real gun, and I'm not sure if Sam or Bobby is the one that's steering while they're walking, but as Meg advances on them, they're moving, and Dean reveals that they were counting on her coming after them, and Bobby has that very fancy devil's trap, the Key of Solomon, on his living room ceiling, and she is trapped in there.
That is the greatest way to unveil the devil's trap.
Yes, they pull this trick a lot, where it's like, secret devil's trap you didn't know we had. I love when they're on the ceiling. I think that's so funny, because they always check the floors.
Yeah, no one ever looks up on these shows. Like, everything's always on the ceiling, guys. When are you gonna learn?
They tie Meg to a chair, and she's back to being super pervy. Like, it's like the Winchesters get snarky, and Meg gets, like, horny.
This is how she communicates with people.
Bobby has locked down his house, and it's a standoff between Meg and the Winchesters. Dean calls her a bitch, and she goes, "Oh, geez, you kiss your mother with that mouth? Oh, wait, I forgot, you don't." Which is a format of a joke that's just gonna keep going this entire episode. 3 people make a joke with this format. Meg says she killed John, and Dean gets really angry. Bobby reminds Dean that there's a girl in there, so if they hurt her, they're hurting the girl.
Something they forget for, like, most of the series.
Yeah. Dean says that's actually good news, and they get to exorcising. Sam does the actual exorcism because he's better at Latin. And Dean makes exorcist jokes, because that's what he's good at.